Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This time I'm just going to be going over how I personally use Canon's DPP photo editing program to edit my photos. Now this is just how I do it, what I use, my settings. You can do your own thing, it's on you. This is just the way I do it. The reason why I use this program is because I do not make any money out of these photos. This is just a hobby for me, so yeah, Canon DPP it is. But anyway, so I have heard also on the internet, watching YouTube videos, man, people bashing this program, saying that it's terrible, don't use it, blah blah blah. Stick to Lightroom and whatever. But that actually hasn't been my experience. Again, I'm not making any money out of these videos, out of these photos. This is just a hobby. It's just a way to pass time away from work and whatnot. But I actually enjoy the features with this program. Yes, it's not the most advanced. Yes, there's not a lot of AI involved here. There is ways to remove things, objects that are maybe intrusive in your photo, but I don't use those features because I think that you as a photographer, if you don't want those things to, for example, to be in the way, you should maybe try a little harder to position yourself in the right place to take the nice shot. And yes, I do understand that things do happen. Birds are not there for you to take photographs of them. They could care less. They'll land and sit wherever they want, and that may not be the right place or ideal composition for you. I get that. It happens to me a lot too. But then you just have to wait for the opportunity, or maybe move around and look at their behavior, see where there's a hot area where they're perching and whatnot. And that has worked for me. I learned this from bigger YouTube channel birders like Dwayne Payton. So people like that, they're actually very knowledgeable when it comes to this stuff. Now, I'm going to show you just how I use Canon DPP's program for editing your raw photos. This is just the way I do it. You are free to do whatever you want, to use whatever you want. But anyway, let's stop mumbling around. Let's just jump right straight to it. So this is just a random photo. It does have some I'm using this feature here where you can if you click on this here, it'll allow you to you can see where your highlights are blown out, also where your dark areas are. I don't mind the dark areas as much as my highlights. The darker areas are easier to recover than your burnt in highlights. This is baked into your photo, so as well as your dark areas, but not as bad as this. So I unticked my shadows and just focus on my highlights. This is just how I do it. If you want this information to come up here, all you got to do is come here, bam, there, and this will allow you to also what do you want here. You can add or delete information from this little box. This is just the way I got it set up. Pretty much standard, just when you first download the program. This is default. I haven't added or taken anything away because I find that this is enough for me. Anyway, so yeah, let's get into editing this Steven Seagal photo. Yes, I stole that from Gordon from Camera Labs. Another great YouTuber when it comes to photography and camera gear and things like that. I enjoy his videos. So the first thing that I start with is I want to correct my composition here, how I want this to look. And generally what I start with is my first thing that I do is crop. I think that this is a pretty composition here, so we'll stick with that. And then I come here to my noise reduction and chrominance noise reduction. This, as it is, you can tell it's pretty clean. I really don't need to do much here, but I still do it. I choose sharpness here instead of unsharp mask. Sharpness just for me works, and I leave it at 4, and I think that this is the default setting, and this seems to work pretty well. So this is all I changed in this tab here. Over here you can come and if you're shooting with the Canon lens, you will click on this here and you will go down the list and pick your lens. This is just to optimize your photo quality and maybe some corrections, lens corrections that are built into the program here that work together, to optimize your photo and whatever your lens rendition and whatnot. Anyway, I'm not very well versed in that area, but that's what I understand. So so here you go and highlight your lens, you click this box, and then you hit start. This is not a Canon lens. This picture was taken with the Sigma 150-600 contemporary lens. This is at 600 millimeters, 6.3, and you can see the background is just beautiful bokeh. I'm very happy with this photo. So okay, so now we got our crop, we have our lens correction if you did use a Canon lens. If not, this will be grayed out as you see it here. You could click this here for distortion if you think that your lens is giving you some distortion. This lens here works just fine. So, but these things here, I just by default I click them just to have them, so I don't have to mess with them. I don't forget about them. Okay. Another thing that I like to do is, because you see here I have some my highlights are blown out here, and this is just my fault. I should have corrected my exposure there, but it was just a random photo. I just turned around and took burst shots of Steven Seagal staring at me there. Didn't think much of it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just drop the brightness a little bit, see if maybe that, okay, that cleans it up. All right, and I go with color temperature. You could go with white priority, and this seems to do a pretty good job, or ambient priority, and this does okay as well. Daylight is a little more aggressive, and yes, it'll add a little bit more green to your image. I'd rather just stick with color temperature to mimic what my eye actually sees, color temperature, what I'm actually looking outside or inside. So I'd rather stick with 5500 here, and now you see that it the picture looks a little bit more warm, more so I do that. I like to use auto lighting optimizer, and this seems to help with bringing up bringing up the shadows, and it is a good tool. It doesn't always work to your advantage though. Sometimes it can make things a little bit too bright, or just ruin your photo. So be careful with this. But I say 8 out of 10 times this does a pretty good job. Clarity, I bumped this up to 3. This here, when there's water or other, if the bird is in water, I tend to want to give it a little bit here. Just bring it here to give it a little bit more of a cool look. See, like that changed a little bit to green because you add a little more blue into it. So I tend to do that, but in this case we don't. That's not the situation here. So I will leave it right in the middle, just as it is. I think that is pretty good. And I have already dropped my highlights, because if you leave your highlights as they are, you'll notice how look at that. So this program actually does pretty well. I mean, I don't know why people say this is a terrible software, it's terrible this, terrible that. Maybe because they're used to Adobe Lightroom, that's all they know, and when they jump to something this basic, they hate it because they can't do all the things that, tricks and things that they do with something more advanced like Lightroom, and they're making money out of those photos or whatever they do. So yeah, but anyway, I like how the highlights look here. Let's zoom in a little bit, and we recovered a lot of the detail here. There's still a little bit of blown up highlights here in this area, but you can see, maybe not, you can see that there's still some detail there that is recovered. So I'm happy with this. So let's bump up the color a little bit, or not a little bit, but quite a bit. I also want to add some contrast. I like contrast in my photos. So there you go. We got the green grass. This is, yep, I like the way this looks here. Let's go back up here. Maybe we can bring down those highlights there. Just drop the brightness. Yeah, and I think that'll work there. I think that is good. Okay, so now we have done this basic editing here, and you can compare your previous image, the original image, versus your edited one. You can do that here. So this is how it used to look, raw, without any editing, and this is what it looks like now with some, you cleaned it up, added a little bit of color, a little bit of warmth to the photo, but we're not done yet. So let's I'm going to show you guys something that oh, by the way, here you can individually bump up the colors if you want. I use this a lot if depending on the photo. In this case, I'm going to leave these here alone. But yeah, this is another cool thing that you can use for editing your photos. This one here is to remove things that you don't want in the photo. I believe this is what this is. It's working, so yeah, that's what, but I'm not, I don't often use this stuff because I just don't. But you can give it a try. You can, go and, I don't know, yeah, experiment with that. Right now I'm just giving you the basics of how I edit my photos. So this is the third thing that I use, and this one here is a little bit special because with this here you can emphasize on particular areas that you want to bring up the colors, or if you want to highlight particular color or areas with color, you want to bring those colors up or out, and this is how I do it. That's too big. So you just come to this tab here, set adjustment area, and I zoom in as much as possible. And let me just show you what this does. You can leave it here, your adjustment brightness. You can leave it here, but bring this down so that you get a better idea where you are at. Now, when it comes to something like this, drop this to the minimum so that you can get be more precise. Your blur radius, this is very important because if you don't correct this, I have it at 100 by default. I don't move it, I just leave it there. If you don't use this, once you're done doing this, the change that you made will be very obvious. Even when you zoom out to this to 100% to the right size of the photo, you'll be able to tell that you did something there with your colors. So you want to have your blur here, give it I say about 100%. For me this works, and I'll show you what I mean, right? It's just maybe hard for me to explain. So here we start by just holding down the left mouse key and just go around the pupil like that. I'm doing this because I want to bring out this beautiful yellow here of the eye. And that's it, okay? And now just go around the eye here. And the whole time I'm just holding down left key on my mouse and just dragging this black area here. Or, yeah. And just go like this. So basically it's just like using a brush. You're just telling the program what you want to highlight. Okay. And alright, that works for me. And now let me show you what I'm talking about now. So we go here. Okay. And now you can turn up your saturation. And you see that. So you don't want to overdo it. So let's just zoom out here. Okay, if you look at the eye, this is the change that you have made. See that? So now that beautiful yellow comes out at you. I don't want to overdo it because it's just it will look unnatural, but I think maybe there I will leave that there. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back into the eye or around the eye, And I want to bring out this here. I don't want to overdo it again. So I here, this is what you did with the eye. So I don't want to stick and use the same one for that I used with the eye around the eye. I don't want to do that. So let me jump to my how would I even say this? I don't know, but just go to the second one. This will give you you know, it will separate the eye from your next editing. So again, bring this down. I am pretty low here, so just go easy here, just like that. And again, this is just what I do a lot. I don't do it in every photo, so it depends on the photo itself. It's really up to you whether you want to do this or not. I enjoy it, so I'll bring this up a little bit, maybe by yeah, 130. So let's go back here, and now you see that orange, beautiful orange there. And if you want to see what it looked like before, just just click here, and that tells you that, you know, what you have done and what you haven't. And there. So I think that is enough as far as that orange goes. And I want to give the beak a little more color, not too much. So let's go to 3, bring this down again. Here, by the way, you can change what the zoom is going to be. You can do 100, it'll take it to 100, or you can pick 300, it'll take you to 300. And I think in this case, in this instance, 300 should be enough for what we're trying to do here. All right, so let's focus here on the beak. Now I'm going to stick to this small one here for doing the edges, and then I'm going to increase the size. Okay, let's zoom out, see what the change looks like and how much saturation we want to give this. We don't want to overdo it. And I think, okay, let's see here. So this is 100, this is the original. Then we can go to 130. And yeah, I like that. I think that's enough there. I don't want to go beyond that because I don't want to ruin the photo, making it, you know, make it too bright. Okay, so now let's do the legs, because as you see, we're lacking color there in those pretty legs. So let's fix that real quick. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Let's start here. Oops. Yep. Okay. So let's start here. And just drag it. What I have noticed, I've also used Darktable, which is a freeware, so, you know, photo editing software you can get, which is really nice, by the way. It has a lot of pro features in it. I enjoy it a lot. I just like DPP because of its simplicity, just easy to work with. I mean, again, like I said, I keep saying, this is not a job for me. It is simply a hobby. So, but if you want to get Lightroom-like features and options, Darktable is an option. You can download that for free. Depending how fast your computer is, this might go smooth for you, or it may take some time, you know, as you're dragging this. So that's one thing to consider also. Okay, so now we got the legs edited, and let's first start with see here, let's there. And now what if we go to 130? See what happens. And that yellow, there you go, that yellow pops out at you. And I think I'm gonna leave it there. I think I like that there. Yeah. So I don't want to mess with any more colors here. So I think we're done with the color, you know, editing here in this area. Let's go down. Let's see if I can bring up some of the shadows here. Yeah, I think that is good right there. I don't want to. Yeah, I think I like that there. I just wanted to have a little bit of contrast here, and some, yeah, I wanted this to pop out a little bit. I didn't want to just have it a big blob of black here. Now, as you can see, it did introduce a little bit of noise, but that can easily be fixed here. Just doing that, just a tad. It's going to start working here. You'll see that in a second, and it should clean up that little bit of noise that you see there. If you do this, if you do too much of that, it'll make your image look too soft, and just it'll lose a lot of the sharpness. So you want to use this tool here with caution. Just FYI. Okay, so let's look at the previous image and versus the edited image, and to me that looks nice. I like it. It's not a it's definitely not a photo that's going to win you any awards, but I like it, and it's, for me, it's enough, yeah, I'm happy with this. So yeah, that's just basic things that I use, the tool that I use for editing my photos, and my method of how I work things. But this here, I don't really use it unless there's a lot of dark areas in your photo and you want to bring out details. Then you can try gamma adjustment, but this is kind of stupid. It doesn't really know what you're trying to do. It'll just bring up the brightness, bring up the shadows, and maybe it might be something that you think should be left alone in the photo. So it's pretty stupid. It's not. I don't use this very often. I only use this here, and the colors, or the advanced coloring, contrast, shadows, and light and highlight stuff here. That's all I use. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all for now. Let's see here. This is nothing really that I use. This one you could try and do this, make some adjustments here manually. I don't use this. Again, it's just not something that I often use. I stick to the tabs that I showed you, and that's it. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Is this something you would use for your Canon setup, or do you agree with other YouTubers and other people saying that DPP is a horrible, terrible program? If you do, well, that's on you. Obviously, that's your opinion. For me, I don't make any money out of these photos. It's just a hobby, like I keep saying. So for me, this is more than enough. And again, I love the ability to be able to do this and not have to pay a monthly subscription for just bringing the colors up to my, or just editing my photos to look the way I would like them to look. But anyway, that's all I got for now, guys. I hope you enjoy the video, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.